Well, what has this government got to be afraid of accountability and scrutiny, transparency? Well, apparently a lot, because we see the Deputy Premier is moving a motion where he doesn't want the parliament to have access through a parliamentary committee for true scrutiny of the Olympics in the lead-up with the infrastructure and the services that have to be delivered. This government is scared of integrity.
Minister, you're on the speaking list.
It's scared of transparency, and we've heard these tame little poodle chairs of the government committees. Oh, we don't want to have a committee that looks at the Olympics and provides that scrutiny, that does its job in the true tradition that Fitzgerald said that this parliament should be doing with parliamentary committees, holding the executive government to account. No, we've got tame little poodles of chairs of committees.
Pause the clock. Member for Maroochydore, I'd encourage you to use correct titles, and I also believe you've used some unparliamentary language. I'd ask you to withdraw.
I withdraw.
Well, hang on. You can withdraw, but I haven't given you the call yet. You have the call.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. The chairs of the government chairs of the committees not only are tame in regard to doing the bidding of this Labor government, they gag committees regularly, and then you will not see the minutes of those committees showing their acts to gag the efforts of non-government members to hold inquiries, because they bury those for 30 years. That is an abusive process. That is an abuse of the committee system, and it's also, we see, an abuse of the estimates process where those chairs and some of the Labor backbenchers try to run down the clock and stop scrutiny. That's why it is outrageous for the Deputy Premier to move this motion, which is to remove the opportunity for a parliamentary committee to inquire and to keep account of this executive government with the Olympic and the build-up to the Olympics. Queensland deserves to have an Olympics legacy that serves all of Queensland, not just the Premier's ego, not just those who have one or two hero projects, while the true legacy of opportunity is lost because this government is incapable of building infrastructure in a timely, on-budget way. And I want to address a concern I have, and it came about by a contribution of the Coordinator General and DG of the State Development, Director General of State Development, Infrastructure, Local Government and Planning, Mike Kaiser, who joined by live video to the Sunshine Coast Infrastructure Summit on the 2nd of June 2023. And I'm actually going to table a transcript of his contribution for members to be able to read in greater detail. But I think it's worth noting that in his contribution, I don't blame Mr Kaiser. I blame the government that he's wetted at the hip to serving, and the fact that the only legacies he could talk about in his contribution to that infrastructure summit, the only contributions he could talk about in that infrastructure summit were lifestyle, health, sustainability. What else was it? I think it was certainly our First Nations design, accessibility, lofty things to aspire to, but no detail. And that's the problem with this government. So he's just a mandarin of this government. But what we see is a government that has no plan they're willing to stand up and be proud about and see the accountability measures. We have tame, I was going to say an unparliamentary word about some of our chairs, but very, very tame chairs of our committees who are just doing the bidding of this government. Just doing the bidding of this government where they don't, in fact, want to have a program of the Olympics. So we need to see a transport program that connects all of South East Queensland. We need to see the rail to Maroochydore, which was part of the documents that the councils of mayors put forward, along with a visionary program to have true legacy of transport. We do need to see a legacy of development of sports facilities for the state that aren't just about elite sports but are about grassroots sports and development of our young people into the future. We do need to see all of the services that Queensland should have as a true legacy. No more of this cover-up. We hear a government talk about What are they calling it? The big build. It's the big con, because unless they stop the cover-up, there is no big build. It's a big cover-up. That's why I strongly support the motion as moved by my colleague and the member for Kawana and our Deputy Opposition Leader, because we want accountability. We want an Olympics legacy that serves all of Queensland and no more big con of this government.
Time's expired.